Hello, I am Maxim Presence, and this is Indigo Minute. I am excited to discuss the concept of belief systems. Belief systems are literally the fundamental templates of your identity. They are the building blocks of your personality, your individual character. The person that you identify as is literally made of belief systems. What is a belief system made of? It is made of thought forms and emotional patterns. Thought forms and emotional patterns that come together to create complex geometric containment fields. These belief systems are literally like the definitions, the edges, the containers of who you say you are. The belief systems are literally the defining limits of your identity. So when you say, "This is who I am," that is based on a belief system, a idea that you hold to be true about yourself. And that's what a belief system is. It's a self-reinforcing mechanism that keeps you believing to be a specific identity. Belief systems' job is to make you believe that you are a particular thing. Its job is to keep you convinced that you are this specific identity that the belief system is reinforcing you to be. You are literally the creator of belief systems. You create belief systems by taking a thought, connecting it to another thought, connecting it to a third thought, and then connecting that third thought back to the first thought to create simple geometries, little cups of ideas that you identify with. And those little cups of ideas, little triangles of thought, are thought forms. And these thought forms are then filled with these emotions that make the thoughts come to life, make them feel very real because they're charged, they're magnetized with the emotions. And when you have a bunch of these thought forms, little simple triangular combinations of different thoughts and ideas, when you have them combine with other triangles of thoughts, you start to get very complex geometric shapes and patterns. And these shapes, they're literally like little cups or containment fields that hold very strongly, very securely, stably, a core definition. This is who I am. These core definitions, like I said, are the limits of your identity. They are the defining boundaries of who you are. And they're at your core of your character. They're literally like a very stable, pulsating beacon of frequencies that continues to spit out ideas and more emotions relating to that inherent core definition, that belief system. If you keep feeling and thinking a specific thing about yourself over and over, weaving that frequency, weaving that energy, really weaving that into your aura, weaving that into your individuality, if you keep feeling that, keep thinking it over and over, what happens is you're taking your love and attention and you're giving energy, you're growing these patterns, you're growing these geometries automatically, strongly, again and again, thinking, feeling, identifying with, and they become so strong that they start to have a life of their own. These non-physical structures that are affecting the very physical fabric of who you are. Belief systems are the defining attributes of your character, and they can be as big or as small, as free or as limiting as you decide. Decision is what creates the strongest core to a belief system. When you decide, when you commit to being a specific identity, when you decide this is who I am, when you commit to being this identity, that's when you create the strongest core to build thought forms and emotional patterns around, because decision keeps your focus on that decision, keeps your focus on that identity. You see, a belief system's job is literally to reinforce itself. So when you have a limiting belief about yourself, a concept of lack, a concept of doubt, a concept of fear or unworthiness, it's literally a belief system that is within you that is doing its best to reinforce that identity that you've unconsciously chosen yourself to be. But every belief system is a belief system that you've created, and you can change it. You are literally going to be as big of an identity as you allow yourself to be. These belief systems are like containment fields of identity. When you identify as a human being, as a person, that identity has a very specific belief system around it. It has specific limits. It has specific defining qualities and characteristics, that this is who I am. And you can only create from the identity that you say you are. So if you identify as an empowered, confident human, then you'll create the fruit, the result, your creations will reflect the same image of the Creator, confident, dynamic creations. If you identify and decide to say that your identity is a lacking and undeserving person, then you'll create, the things you do will reflect that belief, that identity. You will only be able to create within those limits. Now, you can also say that you are a human that can perceive more, that is more sustainable. You can change your belief system. You can decide to be more. You could decide to be bigger. And based on what you decide to identify as, that's what you'll start to see reflected in your physical reality experience. Your belief systems are going to create symbols in your experience that reflect back to you who you're defining yourself to be. And the thing is, the fastest way to change your entire experience, your entire world, is to change who you say you are. You could choose to be anybody. You could be as big as you want or as small as you want. You could be as lacking as you want or as abundant as you want. You see, abundance is literally the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. So abundance, you could be abundant in lack, you could be abundant in money, you could be abundant in health, you could be abundant in troubles, you could be abundant in riches, you could be abundant in love, you could be abundant in loneliness, you could be abundant in fear, you could be abundant in love, you could be abundant in anything you want, the negative, the positive, whatever it is you choose, you can be abundant in that. Any idea that says you can't be something that you prefer to be is a belief, is just an idea, a limit in your consciousness, a thought form, an emotional pattern that's very stably a core frequency within you that you've installed unconsciously at some point, and it's literally a limit, a wall, a barrier, an energetic reinforcement frequency that's telling you can't be that big. You can't be that great. You can't be that expansive. But let me tell you something. Yes, you can. You can be any identity that you choose to be, that you can imagine. Any identity that you can imagine, you can be that. If you allow yourself to be that. The only person, the only being that's stopping you from being the identity that you prefer to be is you. You are the only one that's buying into, believing in the limits of a character identity that you don't prefer. Now, I've been thinking about the feeling of ecstasy, of bliss, of joy. How can I feel consistent, stable joy, bliss, ecstasy? How can I feel that excitement all the time? You are going to be able to hold the frequency of joy stably by choosing to be who you prefer to be, as big as you really are excited about. The reason we don't feel complete bliss all the time is because we are limiting ourselves. We are pretending to be someone we're not for the sake of pleasing someone that we think is separate from us. We're pretending to be small so that we don't upset the game, so that we play by the rules, that we don't disappoint, so we don't step on any toes. We're pretending to be small out of fear and out of a belief that the world is separate from us. But what if I told you that you can choose to unify yourself with the world? You could choose to identify as something way bigger just based on who you decide to be. So belief systems are 100% crucial to your identity. And the goal of the alchemist is to work with their own belief system, their own definitions that they have about themselves. Because a belief system is just a definition that you believe to be true about yourself. A belief system is literally you saying that a belief system is literally you defining yourself to be a specific idea, a specific thing, and then believing that that's what you are. That's what a belief system is. So, if you're feeling broke and poor, that's a belief system that's reinforcing that. It's causing you to believe that about yourself. So you can obviously, if you don't prefer to have lack or experience lack, you could simply just decide that this is not who I am. I don't prefer to be that anymore, and I'm actually rich and wealthy. And you could literally create that belief system, that idea. You could just decide that this is who I am. I am healthy. I am loving. I am powerful. I am wise. You could just decide that this is who I am. And by deciding that and holding that no matter what, just literally being like, whether the circumstance changes or not, who you are is not dependent on the circumstance. You got to decide to be who you want to be no matter what. Just within yourself, internally, like as a knowing, this is who I am. I know I am wealthy. I know that who I really am is completely abundant. I'm literally 100% abundance itself. I am excitement itself. I am wealthy and rich and healthy and wise and loving and powerful. Those ideas, those beliefs, they have to be a core identification. You have to basically choose that and just be that internally first, and not worry about needing the thing to reflect that to you. You have to just own that frequency. Like, you know that this is who you really are, and you have to be yourself. You have to really just decide, I am this, I am that. Because as the presence, you could choose to be any identity that you prefer to be. You could say, I am this identity. You could say, I am that identity. And it's all based on the definitions that you give yourself. So you could define yourself as this identity or that identity. You could define yourself to be this expansive or this lacking or this limited or bigger than that. You see, every identity, every single identity is no better or worse than any other identity. It's just all different variations of who you are. When you think about the concept of an ascended master, that consciousness is an identity that can see more, that has more awareness of its grandeur. When you look at the identity of an angel, an archangel, that collective consciousness, that idea, that identity is a frequency. It's a combination of energetics, of thoughts and emotions and feelings, and it could see more of its totality. That identity is even more expansive. All of these identities, like even an extraterrestrial, even the person in even your friend across the way, those are just different identity structures. The picture I'm painting is that everything is one. It's all made of the same energy. It's just how that energy is structured creates these different containers of energy, these different spheres of identity, energetic fields, these little bubbles of this is who I am. And they're all based on these belief systems. And so an angel's belief systems about this is who I am is different than an ascended master's belief system of this is who I am, is different than a belief system of a human on earth saying, oh, this is who I am, is different from the other human across on the other side of the world, oh, this is who I am, or the extraterrestrial on the spaceship in Venus, this is who I am. It's just a different identity structure, and the identity structure is just the only difference between one identity structure and another is how big or small the limits to that identity are, the definitions of that identity are. But the key thing to understand is all of those identities are within your perception, within your consciousness, within your presence. Even the identity of you as a human is within your presence. And you as that presence, you are the ultimate key, the ultimate skeleton key to being any identity that you wish to identify as, because you're all of them. You're just pretending to only be one specific one at this time to specifically experience yourself from this lens. And what I'm saying is you could change that lens to be as exciting as you want for yourself, as authentic, as true to your soul core frequency as you will allow yourself to be. Every one of us has a unique flavor, a unique note in the symphonic harmony. And if you play your note, you'll be as happy and blissed out as you can possibly imagine. That's how you hold the frequency of bliss, by being the frequency of your core self, because every soul has a unique flavor, a specific expression of the one, that's who it is, and that's the frequency of joy itself. It's the frequency of excitement itself, the frequency of ecstasy, bliss, passion itself. So by removing all the limits that literally damper you down from being exactly the identity you want to be right now, exactly what's in your deep down, you know who you want to be. If you could have no limits, you could feel into it of who you want to be. And that who you want to be, moment to moment, can change. And that who that you want to be can be anyone or anything that you imagine. Because like I said, all of these identity structures are within you. They're made of one energy that we all share. And if you zoom out all the way back, you're the greatest identity there is, containing all the identities that you could possibly imagine within all the galaxies and Milky Ways and planets and beings out there, and in here and on different dimensions, and all of that is just you're this massive identity that has all these different unique, juicy identities within it. So you could choose to be whichever identity you want based on who you decide within yourself to be, because the external, well, it's all happening within you, but the outer, the physical is just a reflection. It's just it's like, okay, this is my belief system. These are the definitions, the defining limits of who I say I am within my consciousness, within my local consciousness. And, as I wake up that I am way bigger than I thought I was, now I can choose to identify as a different construct, a different identity. You could even be the Ascended Master. You could even be the Archangel, because like I said, all of these are just energetic structures, lenses that you can choose to look through from the perspective of your presence. Like if you zoom out, take on the identity of the presence, turn the skeleton key, step out of the story, out of looking through the eyes of the character you are now, walk and pull up the menu of an archangel, step back into the identity and eyes of the archangel, look around, experience that, then you can again zoom back, turn the skeleton key, look through the eyes of another being, and so on and so forth, and explore the vastness of your whole self through a multi-dimensional lens of multiple lives, multiple realities, multiple worlds, multiple experiences at the same time. So belief systems are literally, like I said, the defining limits. They're made of thoughts, they're made of emotions, and they're the defining limits of your identity structure, the character that you're identifying as. And so you're this great presence that's looking through the lens of the specific character to have this specific experience within a world matrix that's within your consciousness as well. So what I'm saying is these limits are good because they keep you in a very particular story, a particular experience, a very juicy experience. But if the limits are too tough, if the limits are making you suffer, if the limits are making you feel pain, and you feel like you're out of control, and you feel like you're creating things that you don't want to create, then you need to wake up to your greater self and start to define yourself internally as the identity that you want to be, that you really prefer to be, that you know to be in your heart of hearts. And it takes stillness to really allow yourself to imagine that. It takes stillness, it takes silence to see that frequency clearly. You have to look beyond whatever the circumstances. You have to look into the unknown through the stillness, through the silence, and really feel your own core frequency of passion, of joy. And just that feeling of this is who I am. Connect with that. And so the belief systems are these complex geometric structures that can, like I said, could hold defining beliefs that are fear-based. They could hold defining beliefs that are very limiting. And if you want to uninstall these limiting beliefs, you have to really go deep and see what supports that, and like as the alchemists continue to transform all of it. Because once you decide this is who I am, then you're really just really feeling that that's who you are. No matter what's happening, you're identifying with the frequency of your expansive self. And you are only as big as you allow yourself to imagine yourself to be. You're only as expansive as you allow yourself to imagine yourself to be. So, zoom out of yourself, out of your story, and really craft the identity that you prefer. Really really just be who you want to be. And, we'll dive deeper into creating belief systems and literally doing meditations where we can create thought forms and emotional patterns and create belief systems with them and install them into our auric field and uninstall ones that aren't serving us. We will practice those things through different podcast episodes, but these are kind of the definitions so that you're really more aware of and understand at least kind of where I'm coming from as far as how you can change the definitions, the defining limits of your identity, and therefore change and allow yourself to be a bigger identity, and from that bigger identity create with more expansive tools that bigger identity has, because that bigger identity is more empowered, sees more, has more information, can create with more expansive tools, basically. Because it is bigger, it can do more because that's the identity it is. So belief systems are really, really special, and you can use the things that are happening in your life. You could use the thoughts you're thinking and the emotions that you're feeling as clues to dig into yourself and to find the things that you're defining yourself to be. To be like, investigate, I'm thinking these things, I'm feeling these things about this particular aspect of my life. Those thoughts and feelings are reinforcing a belief. They're being produced from a belief system. That belief system is spitting out these thoughts and feelings. Let me trace them back to the core belief system and change it to be even more expansive, so that more expansive defining belief system is going to produce more thoughts and feelings that are supportive of my expansive identity that I know is in my heart to be who I am, the most exciting version, the most exciting idea I could have about myself, my preferred self, my ideal self. This is who I am. I am my preferred self. I am my ideal self. This is who I am. I am my preferred self. I am my ideal self. This is who I am. I am my preferred self. I am my ideal self. This is who I am. So be your preferred self, be your ideal self, because I know that if you look at your life, all the things that you really love, that you focus on, you create. More of it flows into your life. So let go of more limits and let more of you flow into your life. So with that, I sending you all my love and wish you so many blessings, and may peace be with you.